Now that the transfer window is closed, I would like to review and talk to you about MUFC's transfer business this summer in terms of both incomings and outgoings. So firstly, what I would like to say is that we finally worked like a proper football club this summer, and that credit goes completely to the new leadership group. For the past 10-15 years, we've really struggled to move our deadwood out of the squad, as well as permanently move out some of the youngsters who are not going to make the cut, right? So we've done that pretty successfully this year. I'll talk more about that later, but just to give you an example, we've struggled to move the likes of Martial away for years. We just kept giving him good contracts on high wages. We put an end to that. A lot of youngsters like Hannibal, Will Fish, etc. have been loaned to different clubs every other year, and we probably knew that they're not going to make the cut a couple of years back, but we just struggled to move them away. But we kind of managed to do that pretty well this summer as well. And another thing in terms of business, when it comes to incomings, we always paid that United tax. We would haggle throughout the summer, and then by the end of it, either not get the player or pay just that premium price, like we paid for Anthony. Ajax were pretty clear that they wanted that 85 million a couple of summers back, and they got it 2 days before the window shut. Casemiro, I thought at 65 million at that age, reaching the end of his career, was stupid in terms of business as well. Yes, the player's quality, but Real Madrid got what they wanted because we always paid that premium. But this summer, this has been different. When you look at Matthias de Ligt, right, it was very clear we wanted him, he wanted us, but we did not want to pay that premium. While Bayern always wanted that 50 plus million euros, we stuck to our valuation and eventually got that down, and got to Bayern's valuation with add-ons, which is fair. And we saw that with Manuel Ugarte as well. PSG were very clear that they wanted to get the money back. They paid Sporting last summer for him, but we were also we had our valuation, which is about 10 million lower than PSG's valuation, and we eventually got there. We reached a compromise. It's been pretty pleasing to see the off-field business this summer, but now all of this will only make sense and will only kind of add up if we perform on the field. Anyway, let's dive into the transfer business in terms of incomings and outgoings. So the first player that I would want to talk to you about is Joshua Zirkzee, who we got from Bologna for about 36 million. Again, smart piece of business there. His release clause was fixed, but we kind of agreed that we'll pay slightly higher than the release clause so that we don't have to pay a lot of money upfront. So that was pretty smart by the leadership group as well. What he offers is something very different to what we already have. Rasmus Højlund, who came in last summer, he's a typical number 9. He loves playing with his back to goal. He will be very physical, run in behind the defenders. But Zirkzee is not like that. He is like a 9.5. And he said that himself. He likes dropping deep, linking up with his creative players, silky touches, skills here and there, 1-2s. And he'll make the gameplay for our wide players much better. So the likes of Garnacho and Rashford and Ahmad should free up much more, because he will drop deep, link up, and then we could play a long ball to our wide areas, and then you would have Garnacho and Ahmad or Rashford, whoever plays, kind of chase them. So a very talented boy, and not often do you get compared to greats of the game like Ronaldinho. And Zirkzee's previous manager Thiago Motta, who managed him at Bologna, actually said that he reminds him of Ronaldinho at a young age. So yeah, goodbye. Let's see what we have in store with Zirkzee. The next player I want to talk about is Leny Yoro. He is undoubtedly my favorite transfer for MUFC this summer. Not often you get comparisons like he's the Kylian Mbappe of defenders. So clearly the boy is really talented, and you can see the talent at such a young age. He's just 18. He's fast, he's physical, he has long legs. He will allow United to play that high line that Ten Hag has been wanting to play for years. He's really tall as well, so you expect him to win those aerial duels, and he's very good with ball at his feet. The reason I was more excited with this signing is because it felt like one of those steals in terms of he was destined for Real Madrid, right? and everyone just assumed and knew that he's going to go there. But the fact that he kind of came to us for 50-60 million pounds at, you know, an 18-year-old for that price is not a problem, because you know the guy's talented, he is destined for the top. So a great transfer for MUFC to get Lenny Yoro in. The next transfer I would want to talk about is Matthijs de Ligt. Getting him for 38 million pounds, a lot of haggling with Bayern Munich, but we finally found our way. We did not pay the price that Munich wanted, and I think de Ligt at 39 million pounds is an absolute steal. One thing which he will really add to the squad is his winning mentality and his leadership skills. I know he's just 25, but honestly, he's captained Ajax. He's played for the Italian champions, probably the best club in Italian history, Juventus. He's played for Bayern Munich and won there as well. So he has that winning mentality, he has those leadership skills, and he will only add to that. And you know, we have a mix of youngsters and experienced players, but I would say many more youngsters than experienced players. So getting someone at that price, at that age, to, you know, just jump into the leadership group will only be a positive. And he's played for Ten Hag, so he knows his style. So I think he'll slot right in. So great transfer again. Next, I'll talk to you about Noussair Mazraoui, the second transfer I'm most excited about for Manchester United this summer. I feel he'll give so much more than Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I loved Wan-Bissaka. He's probably the game's best one-on-one defender. But you know, you want your fullback to be more attacking in nature, and that's what Mazraoui offers. He can play on both wings as well. He can play as a left back, he can play as a right back, and he's equally effective. We've seen him fly down the wing and link up with your right attacker or your left attacker for Bayern Munich and for Ajax. He had a great relationship with Antony at Ajax as well, so hopefully that happens. Whatever it takes for Antony to kind of rediscover his form. But yeah, Mazraoui is very, very good in the air as well. He's pretty tall. But one thing that makes him stand out from other fullbacks is that he's superb under pressure. Like, you know, when the opponent is kind of pressing, chasing him down, he's so calm. He doesn't panic. He finds the right pass. He does not lose the ball. So to have someone like that who can play on both wings is a plus. So great transfer for just 12 odd million by United. The last transfer I would like to talk to you about is Manuel Ugarte for about 42 million. Again, great in terms of monetary value, because PSG wanted a price much higher than that. We found our way eventually and paid what we value him at. And you know, United's biggest problem last season was the midfield. They were just too open. Every team just knew that United would be exposed in that midfield area, and they capitalized. That was the biggest problem, and that should have been United's number one focus this summer. So I feel like Casemiro doesn't have the legs anymore, unfortunately. So getting someone in like Ugarte, who covers ground very well, who will come in, sweep the ball here and there, intercept passes, very aggressive in his tackles. That's what you want, honestly, because that's what United lack. They did not have a player of this profile for a while. So I think getting Ugarte in at just 23 years old, you know, is good planning for the future. He did that brilliantly at Sporting as well, where he made his name. He would intercept passes and he would just do all the dirty work in front of the defenders. And that's what you kind of need your central midfielder to do, honestly. And you know, he also reminds me of Licha Martinez, not in terms of gameplay, but just in terms of personality and attitude. I feel like he's a fighter. We saw that in the Copa America this year as well, especially in that game against Argentina when he went face to face with who was it, Rodrigo de Paul, I think. He's not scared. He will go in. He will play for the badge. I mean, enough said, right? He waited all summer to sign for United, so you know he really wanted to sign for this club. So getting someone in with that fighting spirit, aggressiveness is good business again. So well done to the leadership team for getting him in. Okay, let's talk about some of the outgoings this summer. I think it's been the most profitable summer for United for, I don't know, 7-8 years. You know, you have to give credit to the leadership group for doing that. First person I would like to talk about is Scott McTominay. Honestly, such a bittersweet farewell, right? I am very, very sad, honestly, personally, that he's leaving. A boy from the academy who has given his all for every manager. There's a reason why the likes of Mourinho, Solskjaer, Rangnick, Ten Hag all praised him and liked him and played him so often, right? Clearly, the boy has something in him, and you could see that. And he wouldn't always just give everything on the field, but he'd give it off the field as well. He would always speak so positively about the club, be brutally honest, and you knew he cared for it. I mean, he's grown up here, right? So he understands what it is to be a Manchester United player, probably more than anyone else. But having said that, the way we are wanting to go forward with this team, we want players and midfielders who are very comfortable on the ball and like to play that ball forward. We don't want players who are not very comfortable on the ball, because it kind of disrupts the gameplay, it slows the game down. So McTominay, while he has many pros, I think one of his biggest cons is that he is not great on the ball, especially under pressure. So I asked the question, would he be in an Arsenal title winning squad or a Man City title winning squad? I doubt it, right? Which is why I feel if that's the direction we are going towards, we want players of that profile, then McTominay moving out is probably smart business, and getting 30 odd million for him is good money, considering it's pure profit since the boy is from the academy. So yeah, very, very sad to see him go, but I feel at the end of the day it is the right call in terms of moving forward. The next player I would want to talk about is Mason Greenwood. I feel there was no way back for him at the club after what happened. So getting him to another league, what I mean by that is not selling him to a direct competitor in the Premier League in order to strengthen them, but to move him to France to play for Marseille for about 26 million odd pounds, plus having a sell-on clause, was smart business, because we knew we won't get much money for him up front right now, probably. For whatever the reason. So having a 50% I think sell-on clause was pretty smart, because if he does make it or continue to make it and shine, he might go to another club in the future for a hefty fee. So getting a sell-on clause inserted was very crucial, so that was good business as well. And the last outgoing I would like to talk about is Jadon Sancho. I think selling him for an obligation to buy to Chelsea for about 25 million was a decent bit of business. When he signed for United a couple of seasons back under Ole, we were all very, very excited as United fans. But that's also because we lacked the right winger and we assumed he would kind of fill that void. But when he came in, there was so much news about him wanting to play from the left, and that area was already kind of taken by the likes of Rashford and now Garnacho. So I don't really get that, but honestly there was no real coming back for him after all the off-field issues he's had in the last few years as well, especially with Ten Hag last season. And he's not really been a consistent performer even before Ten Hag. I know Rangnick played him, Ole played him, but he's had those issues. He's not been consistent. He's shown those bright sparks off and on in one or two games, but that consistency has never been there. So I feel like shipping him out permanently to Chelsea was good riddance in a way for United. However, I don't really understand how he's going to get enough game time at Chelsea. They have like 20 forwards anyway and 40 players. But I guess we'll have to wait and watch. But yeah, I wish him all the best for the future. The last thing that I want to talk about in terms of outgoings is the permanent transfers we made for a lot of the young blood in the squad. So the likes of Will Fish, Maxi Oyedele, Pellistri, Kamwala, all these guys and many more, right? Honestly, we've really struggled moving them out permanently in recent years. We've loaned them for a year, for 6 months, and it's not really worked out for the club or the player. We've rarely inserted clauses when we loan them or sell them either in the past. So what we've done really smartly is, number one, we shipped them out permanently, because if the footballing people, the footballing department know that these guys are not going to make the cut in the next few years, it's best to just ship them away and then insert clauses, which is what I think we've done very well. Yeah, while we've taken a very small upfront payment for these players, apart from Hannibal, I felt like 9-10 million for Hannibal was good money. But for the rest of them, we've taken a very small upfront payment, but we've inserted a buyback clause in most cases, a sell-on clause, and a right to match, which is very smart in my opinion. Because what that tells you is that, for example, Pellistri, right? It didn't quite work out in the last 2-3 years at United for him. We loaned him to different clubs, etc. But you can see that there is talent, and maybe talent is realized in a couple of years if he plays regularly at another club. So selling him to who was it, Panathinaikos in Greece, I think, was very smart, because what you've done is you've inserted a buyback clause for 3 years. So you know if he's going to make it, he's going to make it in the next 3 years probably, and then you have that right to get him back. So that was very smart. Similar for Mejbri and Kamwala as well. Young talents, but very raw, and probably need to play regularly to kind of prove themselves. So inserting those clauses in deals for these players was pretty smart as well. So yeah, that was that in terms of my review for United's, bulk of United's summer transfer business. Hope you enjoyed it. Do share your thoughts in the comments below. I think the leadership team off field have done a fantastic job as their first summer in charge. But now it all depends on what we do on field, right? Because it all kind of boils down to that. So let's see what the players and the manager have in store for us this season. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and spread the love.